Good morning. Today is January 8th, 2020. This is Clear Passage Prayer Line. The title of this message is called Next Realm Faith. Next Realm Faith. And there's some more parts to it, but I'm going to try to get as much as I can out. And you guys take note because there's some prophetic stuff comes through. Like I'm talking, but I'm talking out of different rooms. So I might be talking out the kitchen one day, out the dining room another day, out the bathroom another day, out the altar. So it depends what he's saying. So just if it's for you, write it down. Yesterday, I was talking to you about, and for some reason, yesterday, and I've been talking, and so it's a couple of people that I talk to all the time, but been talking about historical stuff. You notice yesterday I was talking about historical stuff. Weird conversation. Never actually gave all that information. I was like, why am I talking about all this? It just all came out. And then we had the ego situation in the morning when I saw the ego, and then I got the scripture. And I don't mention people's names all the time on the call because now everything that we talk about, it doesn't just come on the line. It's reverberating in the spirit realm. So that's why I'm real careful if I don't mention your name, it's because I'm covering you. I don't want you to always be out there. Very, very carefully say people's names out on the prayer line. Because see, the prayer line, while we are here, we're not talking human to human. Heaven is in the conversation. So that's why and when I say it, if I don't say it in the heavenly realm, they already know what I'm saying. When I say it out, everybody can hear it. If you know what I mean, it could, because if we're planning on heaven, the enemy, of course, would want to know, okay, well, what they're getting ready to do next. So that's why we cover and protect everybody, because while we're talking, all the listeners of our call is not just on the prayer line. So you know what I'm saying. Okay. So now, and that's why Jesus spoke in parables, because it was he that has an ear, let him hear, because the enemy lurks to listen, to try to figure out what the plans of God are. So that's why I don't just say it any old kind of way. Now, the other thing, so yesterday I was talking about the history of my all that had happened, and I was kind of summarizing. I think that's really weird that I would summarize it. Well, yesterday afternoon I was on the phone, and then I got a text, and I'll just tell you, it all made sense. I got a text, and it was a picture. And I'm not going to say everything, but it was a picture, and I thought, what in the world is that? I couldn't make out what it was. So anyway, it was just such a blessing. So I'm not going to say all what it was, but it was a blessing, and it was a reason. So yesterday was a very prophetic day. Things were passing, things were passing into the earth realm, and life-changing things were passing into the earth realm. And the reason I'm saying that is, since we are connected, pay attention to what's happening. If God is getting ready to bless you, he will start expanding your territory. And when he starts expanding your territory, it's not just physical territory and spiritual territory. It's family territory. So things happen. Covenants are made, babies are born, houses are purchased, people coming together, things happen. Your family structure, you start to see God shifting things around so that you can, to make room for himself. And God is making room in your life for himself. You should write that down, because he's making room in your life for himself. He needs a bigger place to live, so he'll go have you find a house, because he walks around in your house with you. When he goes and picks stuff, he really is saying, yeah, I like this. I'll ride around with you in this. He literally pick stuff because he's with you. He's literally moved in. He's with you all the time. I can tell you, the Holy Spirit doesn't like mess and clutter. Does not. I had boxes in here that I was planning to get rid of, and every time I walk by them, move them. I could hear move them. So I had to just stop and clean them up. When I cleaned the boxes up, it released and opened up a clearer area. in the spirit realm, it also opened up a clearer area. So he is in your home, he's paying attention, and he pays attention to everything. The Holy Spirit is clean, he's neat, he likes things in order, and he likes space. He's a king, luxury. He likes it. So when God is rolling with you, your whole little game is going to bump up because he wants to. So when he tells you to go look for a home, he ain't looking for you. He's looking for himself. He wants to live in a better spot. He wants to be since he's hanging out with you, you need to up your game. That's what he's going to tell you. We got to go find us a house. It's not you. It's you and him. Got to find you a house because he's going to be walking around with you. When you walk around, and if you have a backyard, if you want a garden, if he's got vineyards, if he's got stuff, that's what he's doing. So remember, okay, now that's something I just said today. What did I talk about yesterday about God needs room to work? Remember I said that yesterday, God needs space to operate. So because I don't remember yesterday's message completely. So, but if you go and look back at the last 3 or 4 messages, I would advise you to listen to the last 3 or 4 days because there's some links and consistency in here that I myself am just recognizing what it is. So we're talking about next realm faith. Now, on this is an exercise, and this is how you being who you are and being where God is taking you, being what God is doing. He is formulating. God is the one that creates kingdoms. He creates families. He brings people together for his purpose. When he puts people together, even in matrimony, if it's a heavenly thing, a holy thing, it's not for you. It's for him. It's for his purpose. There's things that he's doing now for later that you don't even know yet how it's all going to come together. And so what happened was so think of this exercise. Somebody gives you a castle, not a big house, a castle, big castle. Now, you are a single individual like you are right now. You're looking at the castle. The castle is empty. It has to be filled. Now, you don't have the knowledge base. This is what I'm trying to explain to you. Next realm. You don't have the knowledge base to know how to run a castle, let alone staff it, furnish it, all the things that have to happen to get that thing operational. Yes, it's your castle. You have it. That's your territory, land territory, as far as you can see, and there's your house, your castle. So now physically walk yourself into the castle, the walls, and you have now with this in mind, that I am a single individual in charge, and everybody's standing around, ma'am or sir, what would you like us to do? You don't know the first thing to ask them. You don't know the first thing to know what to say. You do, and all of the stuff you're going to need is here. It's in boxes, sitting all out on the pavement, on the big long driveways that you have in the barns. They're just filled with stuff, but you don't know how to put it together. So now this is what I'm talking about next round. If you had a little house, stove, one kitchen that you could operate, you could function in that because that's a smaller space. But now you have moved from your small space to your big space. We've asked and prayed, enlarge our tents, enlarge our territories. You got it. Now what do I do with it? How do I do it? You got to have wisdom to know how to function and to operate in this next realm. That castle that I'm visualizing, telling you that you're in, that's your next realm. Whole different animal. It is not where you might have two, even a big kitchen would have a big house, regular house kitchen would have a good sized kitchen, would have, pots and pans. And I don't know how many saucepans you have. Maybe you have 4 or 5 saucepans. If you have 4 or 5 saucepans, 4 or 5 frying pans, big pots, that's a good size. That's a very good size amount of pots to have in a regular kitchen. But a castle kitchen, there's a room that's got the pots and pans in it. There's different ovens and fireplaces and ovens in the castle to cook the food, because in a castle you're not inviting which in a home, 10 people over for dinner is a big chunky amount of a big dinner. But in a castle, you might have 100 people. Do you understand the dynamics, the shift over? This is not, the pots in your house are not the same as the pots in your castle. The furniture in your home is not the same as the furniture in your castle. You have to have a binder to know how all the appliances are going to work. In your house, you just go fidget around till you figure it out. You've been working with it, microwave, oven. Maybe you got 2 ovens. All that stuff. You can do it and go back and watch TV. But in this castle, you can't do that like that. It's a different animal. Yes, you eat in both places. You sleep in both places. You have company in both places, but it's not the same experience. So when you are now in this new realm, we're going to go back to the castle. Stand there now, and now you need to see what you don't know. You prayed your prayer, you got the things, but now you need to know, what is it that I don't know? I don't know anything because I haven't been over in this realm. I don't even know what this is. I don't even know how to tell the waitresses, the waiters, and whomever, the head housekeeper. You got that, all that, the head housekeeper, and you need to do this. We're gonna walk through this thing because you need to come out of your historical. Oh my God, Lord Jesus. Yesterday, we talked about coming out of the familiar and going into the new territory. So I'm giving you an example today of coming out of the familiar. Is your little older house, your house you had before, single family dwelling. You can take that single family dwelling and pimp it out as much as you want. You can give yourself 4 or 5 driveway garages and a swimming pool and everything. Beautiful, big. Let's give you 6, 7 bedrooms. Single family dwelling is still, and all the pimping out you could do on that single family dwelling, it morphs in comparison to this castle. It's not a castle. It doesn't matter how bad your house is here in Los Angeles or in New York, or in New Jersey, or in Texas. It don't matter how, any place in the United States, you got a big, beautiful, pimped out ranch home, got cattle. It's not a castle. It's not a palace. It's not a castle. I don't care how big your house is here. You go over to Europe, you'll see what a castle looks like. So we're there now. We're in Europe. You're looking at somebody has given you, the Lord has given you the castle. Okay, so now I want you to know, no matter what you knew from your familiar situation in the past, you do not know how to run this animal, this big operation called a castle. You know how to run a single family home, and now you're not there. You're not in Kansas no more. It's over. You have gone over the rainbow. You're someplace else. So now in the castle, this is a humbling experience. This is where Solomon was. Lord, I knew a lot of stuff, but I don't know how to do this. And the quicker you get to where you know that you don't know that you don't know, then you start asking the next set of questions. Next realm faith. How do I get to this next realm? I have been given the castle. I have everything I need to operate the castle, but I don't know how to put it together. So let's walk through. You walk in the front door. Let's say that the ceilings are when you walk in the big double wooden doors. You walk in. You can look straight up. It's like 20 feet up. You can look straight up. There's I want you to get some depth on what this looks like. There's stained glass all in the ceilings and the walls, and the light streaming in. This is your home. But it's huge. And then you look, and you have maybe 30 or 40 bedrooms. You have a grand hallway. The hallway is where you greet people. You have a banquet room. You have a kitchen who has an entire staff in the kitchen. And now, see, what you should be feeling is like, wow, this is a little overwhelming. I don't know, but I can do it. I can't do it, but God in me. So I really need the Lord. Since He has given me this, I need Him to tell me what to do. And it's a humbling experience. You think that when you get something bigger, you feel bigger. No, when you get something big and you start getting something, you start getting some territory and some responsibilities, and you start seeing some things that this is well beyond wealth. This is wealth management. When you start getting in, you have to know wealth management if you're going to retain wealth. And God is sending you wealth. He's sending me wealth, but He is sending you wealth as well. And so as you get into the situation, you start asking the question. You start saying, Lord, tell me how, because you can poorly run it or you can run it well. Write that down. You can poorly run it, your blessing. You can poorly run and manage your blessing, or you can manage your blessing well. Obviously, we all want to manage the blessing well. We all want the well done, thou good and faithful servant. We all want that. So we have to be diligent about learning what that means to do that. Because in the realm, wherever God is going to expand your territory, wherever He's getting ready to bless you, and He is blessing you, you want to be excellent in the doing. You want to hear from God and do and make decisions according to what He tells you to do. You want to reign well, because He's trusting you with the authority and the things He's given you to do. Okay. So, and we're going to pray a prayer, because I have some prayers I have to pray over you before we get to the next lesson, which I have no idea what tomorrow would even be. But so what you want to do then, the first thing you want to do is remember you've seen some other castles. You know what they need to look like. You studied to show yourself approved. And I know you guys have all heard me tell you for the last year and a half, even from the other prayer line, I told you to go look at estates, go look at houses. You have to expand your consciousness, or you will be thinking, when God says car, you'll be thinking Volkswagen, and He'll be talking Bentley, and you guys not lining up on the same page. You got to understand that he'll be saying, go do this, and you'll be thinking, I'm gonna get a Ford, and then He's telling you Tesla, and you're not putting it together. You got to see some things so your consciousness will expand to some things, so that you have something to shoot for, to tell the next generation. It's not meant for everybody to stay in the same spot and keep doing the same thing, cooking the same meals, and keep the same old. That's the gas station. The family is like a gas station. You go, you fuel up, you eat, you talk to everybody, and you get back on the road to the promise that God has you doing. Where is He taking you? The family's not the destination. That's the launching pad. But you got to still go out into the thing He's told you to do. That's yesterday's message. So let's get back to the castle. So now the first prayer, just like Solomon, Lord, give me wisdom so that I can rule well, reign well. I can understand. It's a responsibility. It's not ego. Because ego goes right. And when you hit that, by now, when you're standing in this castle and seeing all that needs to happen, you should know you can't do it. You couldn't even run it one day by yourself. You couldn't go in the kitchen and cook the food, because it's not okay, let's go in the kitchen. Everybody just walk to your kitchen, in your castle. Now imagine how big this kitchen is. The kitchen is the size of maybe a 2-bedroom apartment. It's big because they need space. It's big. They're going to cook the food. It's going to taste as wonderful as it does when you cook it in your home, except that instead of making it for 3, 4, or 5 people, I'm making it for 50 or 100 people. So what size are the pots? The pots are gigantic. The pots come up to your neck, from the ground up to you. That's how big pots are in places that are big. But it's required, because He's got you speaking to many people. He's got you doing a bigger thing. So you have to scale up in your mind to understand, I want to take the wonderful warmth of my beautiful home, but I have to transfer it over into this big thing. And it requires knowledge and understanding on how to do it. He has to grow you before He can get the vision through you into the earth realm. You got to know some things. You got to know some people. You got to understand some things. You start realizing how important relationships are. You start really realizing how important business transactions are. You start realizing that it's not a me world, and it's not just my small little family of 10 people. It's now I have a staff of I can feed 100 people, so I have a staff of maybe 20, 25 people on a regular day, until the day we have a dinner. I got to call in help. And if you even have to call in help, you got to know how to get on the phone and call whatever service that is. Say, I need some more. Real deal. Listen, don't. This is serious. I need some more bucks. So you're talking to your housekeeper. we're going to walk through a meeting real fast. You're talking to your housekeeper, and you're saying we're going to have a meal. Let's say we're going to have a dinner in 30 days. And there are going to be 100 people we're inviting from different countrysides that are going to come here and eat. And the housekeeper is saying, so how much staff do we have? So you use people to help you that know their business. The housekeeper will say, well, event planner, in order for that to happen, we're going to need X number of staff so that everybody has this. We're going to need that. We're going to just need this much tablecloths, this kind of linen, this kind of silverware. We need these kind of goblets. This is what we have in staff, and this is what we're going to need. This is you on your vision where God is taking you to the next level. I just need you to walk through this exercise so that you can understand what it is to get uncomfortable in the growth process so that you can be suitable for the next place that he's taking you. It's not Kansas no more. Don't feel comfortable. You're not in your kitchen where you can just turn around and throw it together and it'd be awesome and wonderful. You have to transfer that awesome and wonderfulness up to the palace level. You got to be who you are and get up to that palace level and operate the same way there so it feels wonderful, luxurious, but it still tastes like home. There's something to it. There's something to go into the next realm. You don't just walk into the next realm with your old stuff. You have to be transformed into the next realm. The next realm is there. It's plenty of castles and it's plenty of people running them all day, every day. You can't even count the castles that they have. Okay, so here we go. And the reason I'm telling you, he might be taking you from a small company to a big company. And I don't mean a big company. I mean, if you've ever seen, I'm going to get back to the housekeeping thing in just a minute. But if you've ever seen movies where people go from running a small little office and then the CEO comes down, I'm making you head of da-da-da-da-da, whatever that is. And you go like, oh, my God. He's picking you based on your character. He or she is picking you based on your character, your ability to learn, your integrity, the fact that you can figure it out. Because he knows you don't know, but you're going to figure it out. He's going to train you, provide you with the resources, but he's really promoting the person, not your skill set. So when God has promoted you into what your next level is, know that it's not Kansas. It's not what it looked like before. It's something new. And you need to know, I have to transfer what I know now into this next realm, and I need to get ready. Prepare to move. Prepare to go to the next step. Be ready, be ready, be ready, because it will be a day they'll go, showtime, it's time for us to move like the 10 virgins. You got to be ready. Not, let me go get this, let me go get that. If you're living in expectation, if you realize now I'm pulling pieces from every message I've just spoken over the last 5 or 7 days, this is God. This is not me. Living in expectation means God said the train's going to roll up. I need to get on and keep going. The process is rolling up. I need to get ready. Then let me get ready. Let me start studying. When Queen Elizabeth realized her father was going to be king, the one that's alive right now, when Queen Elizabeth realized her father was going to be king, it dawned upon her as a child, I might be queen. Let me prepare myself. I might be queen one day. Let me prepare myself. And she switched over from being a little kid to a young girl who might one day be queen. She started studying. She started learning. What does this mean? What do I have to do? She studied and she figured it out, which was a very wise thing to do. You've been praying for God to take you to the next level. Have you been preparing to be at that next level? Have you been studying what that means? Because sometimes the graduation has nothing to do with the time. It has to do with the maturity and a season. When the season of maturity kicks in, the door flops open and you off to the next realm. Sometimes it's you holding you up, not the times, not the chronological. It's seasonal and maturity based. How many things have you dropped off? Have your mind has your mind been renewed? Are you able to operate in that next realm? Okay, so let's go back to the castle. You're planning a meal. You told your housekeeper, and so okay, let's put the clothes on. You got your sweater on. You're in Europe. You got your sweater on. You got your little pad or your paper, and you're sitting there with your housekeeper planning a meal for 100 people in your big hallway, your big banquet hall, and they're telling you, well, this is what we're thinking about doing. This will be a good, and you plan your menu and everything. So he tells you how many staff you have, 20, 25 people, but you might need 50 because of the particular day. Somebody to open. This is the thinking. Just that one simple thing as a dinner is an entire fiasco. Not bad, it's an entire process. But when you are operating in the millions and the billions, you understand everything is a process. Take your mind there, get your mind ready, get it there, get it there. And so when you were talking to the housekeeper, see how you're not so impressed about the cars and this and that. You see that stuff every day. You're looking on logistics. So then you go, okay. The housekeeper says, well, we need somebody to greet them at the door. We need somebody to take the coats. There's a whole thing that has we need valet parkers. We need this. So he starts naming off the stuff you're going to need just to feed 100 people over a party that may last 2 or 3 hours. You're going to need entertainment. You're going to need to have the both all the fireplaces. There's three or four fireplaces in the banquet hall. They got to all have wood. You see how I'm talking about logistics? That's where your brain has to be able to go. That's how God has to. That's what He's getting. He's making room in your mind for Him to operate. He's making room in your mind so that you can process at a level so He can get up in there and have His way. You are a child of a king. Don't forget. Don't forget who your daddy is. You're not broke. You're not poor. You're moving into the next realm. Okay, so now you're sitting there talking to your housekeeper, and they go, okay, so we're going to need X number of people. So you start writing down some additional things you're going to need. In the kitchen, the housekeeper says, I might need this. This is your manager, house manager. I might need this, this, and this. So then everybody talks. You guys say, yes, we need this. You got to know who to get on the phone to call to say, in 30 days, I'm going to have a dinner, and which is not you, but your housekeeper's going to do it. And I'm going to have a dinner, and this is what we're going to need. And they start looking for those people in 30 days to bring them so that they be at your house. You see how things have to logistics, how to get it all put. It doesn't just pop up. It's planning on how that whole thing comes together. Okay, so now let's go, but that's just an event. So now back yourself back up. You're standing in front of your castle, boxes filled up with all the stuff you could think you would want to have in there. And now you pray your prayer. And that's the prayer that Solomon was praying. Wisdom. How do I do this big thing, Lord? And then first thing you realize is you cannot do it by yourself. It requires help. It requires staff. It requires wisdom. It requires a continence. It requires somebody to pray. You're in your castle. Your castle has a chapel in it, so you're not in a war room closet no more. You got a whole chapel inside your castle that you can go to. You beautiful. It's beautiful in there. You've got the gold stuff on there. People can actually come and have prayer while you're having prayer. Other people can come in and have prayer. Then you have your chapel, however you want your chapel to look. That your chapel is in there inside your castle. And see, now you're talking. Not only do you have to know how to do this, your children and your family and the people that you are with have to know how to do this thing as well. Why am I telling you that? Because in the spirit realm and in the physical, to the degree that you can handle it, God can take you where He needs to take you. Where you're doing a one or two person Bible study, or you're doing a one or two people prayer thing, or you're doing whatever, but He's getting ready to say, I want to take you over here. So I want to take what I've been making you into here. I want to take you over to this next realm. And He starts telling you that next realm is different. It happens in churches. You have a little bitty church. He wants to put you in a bigger church. It's not the same. It's the same as moving from that little house to the palace. The logistics are so different. And you got to know how to do that thing. So we're in the process. We have arrived. You're in the boxes are here. So now let's go back to so what would be the best first thing you would do is called study to show yourself approved. You would start finding out how other people run their castles. You start inquiring, how do you run your castle? This is wisdom. This is asking questions. This is study to show yourself approved, learning how what a workman rightfully dividing the word of truth. That scripture applies to every single industry that's a profession on the planet Earth. Rightly dividing the word of truth, rightly dividing what to do, how to do it, and how to get it done. You have to be smart to run God's business. And when smartness does not come from the physical, from book knowledge, smartness is not book knowledge. Smartness comes from the spirit realm, God telling you, just like He gave it to Solomon, telling you go here, go there. This is why the whole last years that this line has been on, I have been drilling and drilling and drilling. Get in the presence of God and know his voice. Get in the presence of God and know his voice. Don't be trying to hold on to no. If you've been on these prayer lines and you're still trying to hold on to some old mess because you're trying to stay comfortable in some old stuff, you're missing the boat. Because everybody that's here is getting ready to move to the next realm, and everybody that is ready and has been prepared and has been working on it is moving to the next realm. They're going to be walking and talking. It'll be like talking English and Spanish on the same line. They won't even understand it. Because when one person's talking about cooking for a small little house of 10 people, this other group's going to be over here talking about the technical parts, just like talking to the house manager. We have to feed 100 people in the castle versus 10 people in the little single-family dwelling. This is different language. Same dinner, different language. One is going to eat on some very nice, wonderful china. It looks beautiful. The other one's going to have a table that goes from here all the way down to the end. 48 people on each side, somebody at the head on each other side. 100 people, 100 forks, 100 knives, 100 salad forks and dinner forks. Just the spoons. You have 4 spoons on one side, 3 forks on the other side. Your butter knife, you have your steak knife, you have 3 glasses. You see what I'm saying? It's different. And you have to know the difference. You have to know. You have to study to get where God is taking you. You have to prepare for you. You got to prepare to be the thing God's turning you into. So you start by studying the best of the best. You've heard me say that on the executive prayer line. Since I'm going to be king, since I'm going to be queen, since I'm going to be heading up this, let me start now. Because, see, I know God. So I need to get ready because I believe he's doing this thing. Let me figure out what I'm supposed to do, how I'm supposed to move on in that situation, and what's supposed to happen. You know, if God is planning to get you married, then why are you not learning and studying how to stay married? Not the world's version. There's tools. There's tools on communication. There's tools on coming together. There's tools on being a godly wife. There's tools on being a chaste woman, getting prepared. There's tools on this holy thing called matrimony. Read up on it. Learn. You should always, always, always be reading up and learning what God is turning you into. What did he tell you he's going to make you into? If he said, I'm going to take you to a new space, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And whenever he told you, from the day he told you, Daniel, from the day he told you and you set your heart to understand, you should have been studying up to get prepared for that thing. You shouldn't be not knowing as much as you don't know now, you don't know in the future. You study because my God has taken me into this next realm. He's given me this new territory. What do I need to know now to be prepared for that thing? Lord, I want to be the best servant I can be in the thing that you're taking me into. In order for me the best servant, my part is to study. He's not going to come down here and do your homework for you. Do you think he's going to come down here and hang the big giant drapes in the castle? No. That he's going to you know that you're in charge of that. So you have the wisdom, administrative skills. You're getting a picture? Everybody's call is different. But if God called you, you need to bump it out 10 times or 100 times and think of not my version of preaching, not my version of ministry, evangelism, company, my version of a book, not my version of church, not my version of a school, or my version of whatever he's telling you to do. You need to be thinking in terms of his version. Because you thinking single family home, he's thinking castle. You're thinking 10 people for dinner. He's thinking 100 to start. You see how you got to get the line? Your vision has to get up with what God is really talking about. Say, Lord, what are you really telling me I need to do? Because I'm thinking small. I'm thinking from the familiar. I'm thinking from my family's experience. I'm thinking from the biggest houses anybody in my family's ever done. Nobody in my family's ever gone past, not my family, but nobody in your family's ever gone past the AA, and God's telling you to get a PhD. You don't have any PhDs to look at in your family. So how are you going to look at them and then grasp this thing God's telling you to do, Dr. So-and-so? He wants you to go to the school, do this and do that. He wants you to become Dr. So-and-so so that when you step in the room to have the conversations where he's going to take you, you're prepared. He's got you prepared. So that's why he's telling you to go back to school. That's why he's telling you to write the book. That's why he's telling you to study to show yourself approved. He's trying to get you in position because you're getting ready to do some stuff. And in order to do some stuff, you cannot be Ellie Mae Clampett from back when. I don't care how beautiful your home is right now. Like I said, give yourself 6, 7 bedrooms, whatever. Pump it out, punk it out, everything. Just everything in that single family home. That single family home is not a castle. Castle, different animal. You live in them, you sleep in them, you entertain in them. But one is a house that represents a great land. One is a house that is over territories and land. Where is God trying to take you? One is a house that requires you to sit high on a hill and look down amongst all the situations that he's putting you responsible for, and you need to know some stuff. He's trying to get some stuff in your head so he can get in your life and he can show off in this earth realm through you to get the job done. Remember who God is. Remember your daddy. Remember your daddy. Remember your daddy. It's nothing to do with where you came from. So you can't even use the only thing you can use a reference, there's hardly anything in a reference that you can use from a single family home comparing it to a castle. I can tell you what, the utility bill is going to be a lot different. Utility bill in your home, okay, the biggest utility bill I used to get would be for electricity would be $500 to $700 because I had a pool. That was a big utility bill. But I assure you that a utility bill in that castle would probably be something I can't even imagine. It would be something that you would look at it and go, is this the staff? Is this the staff salaries or something that's going to be? It would be huge. But you got to get your mind. You got to come out of Kansas, come out of the familiar, come out of, there's no comparison. Be willing to let the Lord turn your mind into a place of receiving the next steps. He wants to do a big thing. He has put word in you. He wants to take you to the next place. Grow. You can't even grow up. You got to go into. This is not a thing. You can grow up all day in the old realm, but this is a new realm. So it's not, grow up is not even a word I can use for this. This is transforming. You are a regular person, and now you are over entire regions. So act like it, pray like it, talk like it, think bigger, so that God can do bigger through you. If you still think in onesie twosie, you're in the wrong space. Think spirit realm behind the onesie twosie. If you're thinking about human trafficking, 2 or 3 people just identified the problem. But you, being the king or queen that you are, operating in the realm that you're operating in, you got to think. Now you got to sit down in the spirit realm and say, Lord, I see this problem right here. Now I need to understand the spirit behind it so that I understand how to attack it. So I know that the spirit of confused sexuality, spirit of lust, spirit of hatred, Jezebel spirit, I can tell it's a spirit, it's murderous spirit. So anybody that rape a child would have murderous spirit. Anybody that would take somebody into bondage, there's a whole demonic thing going on there. You need to know what's happening. So you need to know so you're not just praying for this individual. You're going back into the big gate, just like God has grown you up and, moved you into a different realm. Guess what your army looks like? If you are a castle, you also would build security and strongholds to protect the land that God has given you. Got to get your mind there so that you can do warfare at that level. And so you would then come in and call out according to the word. You would call out the spirits and attack on that situation, but not the little demons. You're not calling out the little demons. You're calling out the origin of that spirit in the earth realm. You call, oh, Jesus, I just said something. You're calling out to the origin of that spirit in the earth realm that be destroyed, not the individuals. You go all the way back to the source and you're calling it out, casting it out of the earth realm. Talk like you know somebody. Who's your daddy? Act like you know something. You've been taught. You know. So now you know how to go up into the pits of hell and talk to that. No, I'm not talking about these little kids right here. I'm talking about the origin of that, the origin of that spirit in the earth realm, how it happened, how it came to be. You're casting it out. Your conversation has changed. Your conversation has changed. Okay, so now the next thing that has happened, you got to learn you got to talk from authority where God has taken you. And now you're gonna might have to listen to this tape later, but this is some mind-boggling stuff. You start learning how see the little nuances that you were allowing to sit. Those things will hold you back. You can't afford to be yourself. You need to be God's person. You can't afford to say I like to do it this way. I. If you're still saying I, slap your hands because you're in the wrong. You're thinking wrong. You now, like a Queen Elizabeth, when her father died, her grandmother wrote her a letter and said, "You now are two people. You are Elizabeth, what her natural name, Windsor, what her name was, but you are also Elizabeth Regalia. You're the crown. You're the crown." So sometimes the crown will fight with the crown, the queen. You'll fight with your personal, what you would do in your personal opinion as a crown, you can't do it. What you would do in your natural self as a human being, as a child of God, given authority over the certain elements of the spirit realm, what he has asked you to do and called you in to do, you can't do. You have to operate for the kingdom of heaven. You are not your own. Do you guys remember reading that or not? So I know it's in there. You're not your own. You were bought with a price called the blood of Jesus. So it's the blood of Jesus when you were living in that single home in the spirit realm and the actual physical realm. And then when he took you to the castle and said, I want you to be praying over all this stuff and put you over that, you're not your own. Just like you weren't your own then, you're not your own now. You belong to the King. You're a child of the King. You were bought with a price. Did you guys understand what that means? When it means you were bought with a price, you can't fluctuate what you want to do, what you don't want to do. You don't have what you want to do. If you gave that up when you decided you're going to be coming to the kingdom of heaven and you're going to listen to Jesus, you don't have an opinion. So anything you say, I want to keep doing this, I want to keep doing that, you can keep out of heaven doing this and doing that. You can keep out of heaven staying in sin. Do you think I'm playing with you? Ananias and his wife was saved in the church at the altar lying. And they fell down dead right where they were. That wasn't the Old Testament stuff. That was some New Testament stuff. You can't have it this way and that way. You either in God or you are not. Choose this day who you're going to serve. You can't go in and out. I want to keep this and do that. You can try it, see what happens. I wouldn't advise it. I'm not going to be standing nowhere near you. I'm not even going to be on the phone with you when you're talking crazy like that. Because where you are now, this is no joke. This is real deal stuff. God is real. He is real. He is real, more real than we are. So when he knows what sin looks like, and he's not going to have no part of it. If he didn't want sin in that little bitty house, that little bitty spiritual space that you were in, that single dwelling home that you're physically living in, when he takes you over to the castle, do you think he wants it there? No. He wants to multiply he wants to multiply what he has perfected in you. If he has perfected you in the smaller space, then he will multiply you into the bigger space. He's going to say, I like what I see. Well done. Let's blow it up. Well done in this small space. Let's blow it up into this bigger space. And now, this is all what I need you to do. Just what you've been doing. That's how God does. He refines you and shapes you and gets you in shape, and then he takes you into something bigger. But he knows you by then. You've been tested. He knows what you're capable of doing. You're not sitting over there trying to figure out how can I sin from Saturday night. I can stop sinning Saturday night, jump in church on Sunday, and Sunday night and Monday all the way to next Saturday I can just be playing with the devil. You could do that if you want, but you will. I'm telling you right now, God's not stupid, and he's not playing with you. If you know something you're not supposed to be doing and you're playing with it, play if you want to, but you will be sitting. Do you know his pastors going to be in hell? Do you think they are? Everybody's going to heaven. They can have been preaching in the pulpit, and they will be sitting up in hell talking about, I didn't know. You knew. You didn't want to let it go. You're bought with a price. You are not your own. That's another day conversation. We in the palace now. Let me go back here. You are in the palace, and you need wisdom to know how to occupy. That's the word I'm looking at. You need next realm. The full title of this message was Next realm, wisdom. Next realm, faith. Next realm, walk, structure, and operation. That's why we're doing the castle exact, because the castle, when you look at it, you realize you could do not a single thing in that thing by itself. It requires a team, and it requires a team of experts. And as you are walking through and listening to, hold on, who is this calling? Walking through, um, okay, as you are walking through through your information, and we're not going to get to the scripture reading today, but keep your scriptures. I'll probably do it tomorrow. As you're walking through and getting through your, and read it tonight though, because this is important. As you're walking through and getting to through your castle, you realize that you could not do a single thing by yourself. It requires a team, and it requires a team of experts. So when you saw Solomon praying, what you saw come into structure for his kingdom, for Solomon's kingdom, were experts, people that have been doing this for a long time. God's not going to waste experts on nothing. He's going to send experts and staff and people to something that's going somewhere for the direction. So we're getting ready to pray now for that you will accept and acknowledge the greatness that God has put in you and what he's doing, because it's not you. It's not you. It's him in you. And he has the right to show up in his full regalia in you. He has the right to be God all day long. God, he has the right to be the I ams that I ams in you all day long. So you got to get past family, past tradition, past gender, past color. You have to get past all of what you think is a limiting experience and say, Lord, whoever you have called me out to be, whoever you envision me to be, that thing I am. I am what you say I am, Lord. I'm not who I say I am. I am what you say I am. And you have to get on that and realize through humility. And I don't know how to be that. I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to step into all that. But I ask for the wisdom and understanding. Restructure my mind. Make me into that thing you would have me to be, so that I can magnify and be the example in the earth realm which you would have me to be. You don't have to be, we're not anybody. We are flesh and bone, but God in you can do everything, anything. He that's in you is greater than he that's. If you look at the scripture now with the understanding of this next realm, all them scriptures mean something different. Because now, just when I said you're bought with a price, that's one thing to be bought with the price when it's just you. It's another thing to be bought with the price when you're in charge of a whole bunch of stuff. Because now God is working through you too, and it's going to roll down from the top all the way down to whatever he would have you do, and whatever he would have you be, and whatever he would call you into.